Hey everyone, it's Sean. So today I have this silly bird. Today I have a writing update for you guys for my book Blade of Perdition. I don't know why he always does this when I film him. He never does this otherwise. So I have done a few other videos about this book. You could check out my playlist I have for my writing update videos and see my Blade of Perdition updates there. But I have big news. Last night I finished book 7 of Blade of Perdition. I think the last time I talked to you guys about it, I was just starting book 6, which is the first book of the third novel, which is called Torment. So I finished that book, book 6, I don't know, about a week ago, maybe? Look at that bird biting me. What a biter. Hey, that kind of hurts. Stop it. Stop it. So I finished book 6 about a week ago, and it kind of took a little while just because I wasn't quite sure all what to do with the book. But it wasn't like it actually took a long time to write. But when I say it took a while, it was just really because I wrote more sporadically. So maybe I'd write one chapter, then 5 days later I'd write another chapter. Another 5 days later I'd write another chapter. Then, I would begin to get some momentum and knock out some chapters. But anyway, I finished book 6 about a week ago and started book 7 immediately. Book 7 is really kind of the climactic book in a way, because everything in the series is kind of leading to this point, and book 7 is kind of like meant to be like the final battle of like the apocalypse. Every book is set throughout like a year. Each book is set over the course of a year, and each year is basically 1 year of the apocalypse. So 7 years of the apocalypse and 7 books, 1 book for each year. And book 7 is the culmination of that. So book 7 is the final battle. And really it wound up actually not just being one battle, but a series of battles. In fact, there's, I think, 7 of them in all. 7 is kind of a recurring number of the series, because there are like 7 archangels, 7 archdemons, 7 levels of heaven, 7 deadly sins, 7 virtues. So like 7 orders of angels. So it's just a recurring number, 7. And somewhere I read some reference to actually like multiple battles of the apocalypse, not just one battle. So that's kind of what gave me the idea for having several battles. Also, since I had every other book take place over the course of a year, I thought it'd be kind of weird if the final book, like the final battle of the apocalypse, takes place only over like a week or something. So for that reason, I kind of, expanded it out to take a whole year for the final battle, or battles. But it all went very well, so I wrote all of book 7 in about a week, and I just finished it last night. So another reason why I say this is such a big deal, finishing book 7, the second book of the third novel, Torment. So basically the third novel, Torment, is complete. There's only one more book of the main series, which is the next book, Lament, which will feature books 8 and 9 of the series. And those are kind of like a epilogue to the main series in a way. So they are still part of the main series, but it's kind of the epilogue, because everything is set during the apocalypse except the next 2 books, basically book 8 and 9. Those take place after the apocalypse, so it kind of shows what happens after the final battle, the final war. And it's also, I think, is a place, the end of book 7, where readers might just want to stop there, because for all intents and purposes, the main story is kind of over. Book 7 ends like where a lot of writers would actually like end the series. It's over. The battle is over. The war is over. It's done. So readers may just kind of want to finish the series in their own way, like just imagining how it goes on from there. Like, just if they wanted it to be a happily ever after or whatever, they could just kind of finish a story in their head however they want. They don't really need to read more, but it does definitely go on, the series. They could read the fourth book, Lament. Look at that bird biting me. That's why his name is Nibbler. Ow, that hurts. Stop it. Stop it. So anyway, I'm really thrilled to finish book 7. Ow. Because I've been planning this series in my head for like 16 years, and to finally be done with like the main part of the main series. The big climactic battle is over. The war is done. And so now it's just kind of the epilogue stuff is left. So I'll probably begin writing that very soon, maybe beginning today. I do have, of course, a lot of ideas for how it goes, but not a ton. I mean, I kind of just know some incidents in each book, book 8 and 9, but I'll have to fill in a lot of that to figure out the rest and make it into a whole novel. But it is going to just be one book. So the only book remaining is book 4, and that's going to be compose books 8 and 9, and that's going to be called Lament. After that, I do have an idea for 2 prequel books as well as 1 sequel book. I think I will write the sequel book first, and that's another major development. I think I decided on a name for the sequel book. So I'm not considering the sequel book to actually be part of the main series, Blade of Perdition. It will actually be a spin-off book, because Blade of Perdition is only the 4 books in the series. Descent, Ascent, Torment, and Lament. So the prequels and the sequel are spin-off books. So they are not really connected with the main series. They will not have the Blade of Perdition name. It's kind of like how there's Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings is its own series. And then there's also The Hobbit, which is kind of like a prequel to the Lord of the Rings, but it's not called like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. I mean, it's a separate book altogether. Same thing with like the sequels and the prequels. And also, Tolkien also has like the Silmarillion. It's not Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion. It's not The Hobbit, the Silmarillion. I mean, it's a separate thing. So it's the same thing with these. The prequels and the sequels are meant to be standalone spin-off books, not part of the main series. Yesterday, I think I had the idea for the name of the sequel book, and it just kind of popped in my head. For a long while, I've been thinking of naming the book something like The Blank of Muriel, or Muriel's Blank, like Muriel's Revenge, or The Revenge of Muriel, or something along those lines, but I didn't really like that specifically. But yesterday, I was just kind of tossing that around in my head, the name like The Revenge of Muriel, and what else I could possibly do with that other than that. And then the name just kind of popped in my head. The Tragedy of Muriel. And I think it's such a unique name, and as soon as I thought of it, I was kind of like, oh, I think that is it. Because I don't think any other writer really would name their book that, because I don't want to spoil it, but basically readers are going to want this story to kind of be like a revenge story, like, I had the name, The Revenge of Muriel. So this is really a book where I think readers are going to want to read it knowing it's going to be a good story. Something like Return of the Jedi for Star Wars, where it just lets you know, like, the good guys are coming back. So I think most writers would have the title be something like that, but not me. So I thought of the title, The Tragedy of Muriel. And I know, like, readers may, like, see that title and think, like, ugh, I don't want to read that. That sounds bad. I don't want it to be a tragedy. I want it to be a good story, like The Triumph of Muriel. But a main part of the story, like a main theme of the story, is loss and defeat and death. And so I just think that title, The Tragedy of Muriel, just really kind of fits that. And also, again, it would be real spoilery to kind of explain why, but the title alone, The Tragedy of Muriel, does not actually mean like she loses or anything, but I do think it is actually kind of a sad story, but in a kind of unique way. And I know I'm not really giving much detail, and I can't really explain here why, because I mean, there's so many details to it and it's so spoilery. But I really just do love that title, The Tragedy of Muriel. So I think, at least for now, that is the working title of the sequel book. And I am pretty sure, like 95% sure, that will be the title, The Tragedy of Muriel. Anyway, so that is it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this bird climb all over me. I'm like a human jungle gym for this bird. Give a kiss goodbye, Nibbler. Mwah!
2, 3, 4.